Poinsettias and amaryllis are classic Christmas plants, but they actually do come with a bit of a risk for pets. Luckily, there are safer, festive alternatives. Plant expert Owen Reeves is back with me in studio with some of his favorite and safe holiday alternatives. So let's talk about this risk of the poinsettias and the amaryllis. What are we looking at when it comes to pets?
Yeah, and with pets, it's going to be cats and dogs are going to be the most common pets we have in the house. And in both cases, it's kind of the sap of those plants. So if and it's more cats than dogs in both cases, but if they can eat a bunch of that, it can make them quite sick. And with poinsettias, granted, they'd have to eat a lot, but it can be, fatal level toxic. But mostly it'll be upset stomach, and they're just not going to be very happy.
Well, and let's be real, this is the time of year you really don't want to have to go to the vet and spend like $1,000
right.
on your pet. Love them, but I have money that needs to go elsewhere.
No kidding. And so it's one of those things that if you don't own pets, you might not think about when you're giving a gift to a friend, but you really want to take that into consideration. There's great resources online that you can check and see a quick Google search, and you can find out if that plant is safe.
Or you can watch this segment because you're going to tell us all the things. So let's jump right in with your very first recommendation. This is for the newbie plant lover.
That's right. And so we're going to go with a classic, and that's Christmas cactus. And this is a plant that kind of, I'm going to say, went out of vogue for a while. It was a little bit of, oh, my grandma has one of those, and I don't want one. It's not cool. But they've totally come back in style. And why not? Because incredibly easy care. They're a phenomenal houseplant for a beginner. They can last for decades inside with minimal care. It's a cactus, so they like to be dry, which is good because the inside of our house is dry. And around this time of year, usually around the beginning of December, they start to bloom, and they are spectacular when they're in flower. And comes in different colors. This is probably the most common, this sort of fuchsia, pink, red, and really stunning. They bloom for a month or more, so it's not a short-term thing. And for a really easy care plant, we don't get this kind of bloom off of many other plants. And it's a great show at a time of year where it's inside, outside, not so nice. This color is fantastic in the house.
Totally. We've got the plant geek covered with our next one.
Yeah, and that's going to be bonsai. And so this is going to be not a beginner plant. We don't want to confuse that with something.
Not for me. Don't buy this for me.
Yeah, this is somebody who is a hobby gardener. They do well with houseplants. This is kind of the next level and becomes something of, you got to get into the groove of it. They need a lot of maintenance. They need pruning. You can train them into shape. But it's an art piece, what this becomes. And they live for a very, very long time. Some are going to be easier care than others. So we think of this as Japanese garden juniper. That's the most common one. I think when people hear bonsai, they probably think of this. But bonsai is actually a technique. It's not a particular plant. So this is Schefflera, which is a very common house plant that can be done as a bonsai. And this is Sarissa, which is another kind of classic bonsai. This one actually blooms. It's just finished blooming. So if you get good at taking care of them, that can bloom 2 or 3 times a year in the house, which is really neat and really lovely art form. It's been around for millennia. So yeah, for the plant lover, this is a neat thing. And they're not as expensive as you might imagine. Something like this around $30. So it's not like it's even a huge spend. Yeah, so even if they die, doesn't break the bank.
Instagram is full of like jungle lovers, like people whose homes are like green, green, green. This is the plant that you're going to look for them.
Absolutely. So this is a Staghorn Fern. Now, we wouldn't look at this and think fern, but this is a fern, believe it or not. And this kind doesn't grow in the ground. It actually grows in trees. We call these an epiphyte. So likes a humid environment, which is kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from these cactus. So the trick with these is they don't need any fancy care. They just need watering, but you have to be attentive to the watering. So these are usually done by misting them, and they work great as a hanging basket, so you can put them up in a window, or a lot of times people will mount them on a piece of wood and hang it like a piece of art on the wall, and it works really well for that. These also can live for a very long time and get to be big and kind of funky and weird with age.
Cool. So I have a cat. We've got crew members who have cats. Do you have any hot tips on how to keep them out of the Christmas tree?
I'm going to say, so this is not from personal experience, but I have friends with cats, and what they've done is they actually put kind of cat ornaments on the bottom of the tree to distract the cat from wanting to climb up the tree. So you kind of give them something that they want to play with at the bottom, because the climbing up the tree seems to be the problem. And so they have special ornaments like a ball of string right on the lower level so that they don't get up and cause chaos. So it might be worth trying, but it's not from experience, but I've had friends who say it works.
I will try it. I will report back. Owen, great to see you.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy holidays.
You too.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.